Enrique Botero, who's a liberal left-wing reporter, had been in the States trying to contact our families, but then he brings us newspapers, Miami Herald and all, from the airport in Miami when he flew back because he knew he's going to film a proof of life with us.
What?
Yeah. He's a reporter that works with the FARC. They let him come into the jungle and film us for political purposes.
What would you say to him right now?
I fucking kill him.
What's his name?
Botero. I think it's Jorge Enrique Botero, yeah. When Botero handed the Miami Herald to us, I want to kill his ass. You know, he knows he's coming to see us. You're in the States trying to get info from our families, so you're facilitating our captivity.
How'd they do the proof of life?
They took us into a village, and there must have been a couple hundred FARC, little town. We drove in a truck. They had us in the back of a truck. But they took us by river through the jungle, and I'll never forget the bridge. And I thought, if I ever get out and I'm back airborne again, we find this fucking bridge, I'm going to find this motherfucker. It was over a river. I'd recognize it today. And there, Enrique Botero, who's a liberal left-wing reporter, had been in the States trying to contact our families, but then he brings us newspapers, Miami Herald and all, from the airport in Miami when he flew back because he knew he's going to film a proof of life with us. Didn't give a... What a piece of shit. Left-leaning reporter. And so I remember they bring us to this, like, just a jungle kind of cabin, couple cabins, and we see these important people or people who we knew, or, you know, and Botero comes in and talks to us for the proof of life. But the night before, Sombra comes in and goes, hey, if you hear an airplane tonight, don't worry about it. It's all good. So he flies in here on a Cessna and lands on a strip, bringing gifts for us out of the airport in Miami and shit.
What?
Yeah. He's a reporter that works with the FARC. They let him come into the jungle and film us for political purposes. Yeah, he could have dined him out, and yeah. How about that?
You fucking kidding me?
Nope. You know, and we get there and they make us mashed potatoes and steak and, you know, but still in the jungle, right? And they're giving us what we want. And we saw ice for the first time in almost a year. Here's ice water. Like, the fuck's going on? It was just a setup to do the proof of life. And what do you say? What do I know about my family? What's going on? Who's alive? Who's dead? You know? And it was just for propaganda purposes. But sick to me that a reporter has this much info and doesn't.
Have you ever met him?
Yeah.
How did that go?
I'd kill him if I could. I mean, it's, yeah.
Have you met him since then?
No, not after that. Not after the interview, no. He actually wanted to after we got out. I was like, no, I'm sorry.
What would you say to him right now?
I fucking kill him.
What's his name?
Botero. I think it's Jorge Enrique Botero, yeah. You know, and he thinks he's doing some kind of job, but he's a lefty, you know, out communist sympathizer. Tanya Niemeyer, she's a Dutch girl, and I believe she's got a red notice on her travel. I just talked to my FBI supervisor. Basically, they watch us a few months ago, and Tanya she's Dutch, and she taught English. So she came to Bogota and became an urban guerrilla.
Are you shitting me?
Nope. And joined the fucking guerrilla. And yeah, Tanya Niemeyer. And so I don't know if she's been able to get out of Colombia or not, because the FBI, we've got a red notice on her. She can't not travel because she wants to go home, you know, I guess back to the Netherlands, but she's living in Colombia. Yeah, I'd hang her from a tree. And I remember when we met her at the Proof of Life, and here comes this woman all dressed clean in like new camo and got her sidearm on like she's a model or something. And her English was very, very good, perfect. And so I said, what color is your passport? She was like, that's funny, isn't it? I said, what color is your passport? I know you're not Colombian. What I thought she was the Cubans trained students, right? And then they bring them in. So I thought she might have been one of the student communists out of Cuba that was brought in there, which turned out not to be true. She just got recruited in Colombia, was a left-wing sympathizer, and joined the guerrilla. as she's teaching people English in Colombia. Nothing, just out there gonna,
Shit.
So she was there to interview us in English. She conducted the interview. And Monohohoy, and there's a great video of him getting bombed and killed. He reads a pronouncement to the United States of America. And the reason that they're keeping us hostage is we violated Colombian airspace. Yeah.
What kind of questions did they ask you?
Nothing. They set us up. They told us, they told us that Tom and they got us in a room, and there's other gorillas behind us, right? And they purposely put a couple small female gorillas armed behind us to make us look big and them, like to make them like we're weak Americans. And they put camo on us, which I didn't want to wear, but then everything else to wear. And they start filming, and she does the interview. And Botero said, "Oh, Mark, here's a message from your mom." You don't think Mark didn't break down? And then, "Oh, here's a Miami Herald." Oh, you're
What was the message from his mom?
Just, I love, just news, right? And I didn't have anything from my family or Tom's. And so they wanted us to give a message back to our families on camera. They're just using our pain so we just said basic stuff. We love you. We didn't do anything more than that. That when Botero handed the fucking Miami Herald to us, I want to kill his ass. He knows he's coming to see us. You're in the States trying to get info from our families, so you're facilitating our captivity by helping our captors. What would you do? So, and I've always had a special kind of distaste for Niemeyer because she came to a country of her own free will, educated, and decided to become a terrorist, right? And when the peace talks were going on in Cuba, she was there and all this stuff, but she's had a falling out with the FARC ever since. And I don't know what she's doing, but last time I saw a couple of years ago, one of the liberal universities in Colombia gave her a fucking honorary degree.
Wow. That's fucking enraging. That is fucking enraging.
So people say, "Do you hate him?" I'm like, no, because that would eat me alive. I had to let it go. But, when I see a guy's in a Supermax now and you got a American lawyer saying he's a victim and he's all this stuff, and I'm like, a victim when he supervised what's been done to us? And then you see all these people get online and they're just, I don't know what they are, protesters, whatever, and I'm like, there's a reason he's in a Supermax. It's not because he's a sweetheart. So for me, if you get too wrapped around the axle, it's just going to drag you to the bottom, right? You got to step back. I've talked to other POWs from Vietnam because I was a hostage. I always tell people at one point, we're the longest held hostages in the history of the United States. We're not the longest held POWs, and there's a difference. I don't want to take anything away from the POW community, right? And so I have spoken with some folks who spent time in the Hanoi Hilton and stuff like that, funny how our minds kind of did the same thing just to survive. But, we're just lucky to be here, man. I mean, two of us didn't make it after the crash, and then a few of our friends afterwards died in another crash looking for us in Colombia, close friends.
When did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that until I think the Proof of Life, but I'm not sure. I mean, we're in a box. So
how did they tell you that your comrades that they assassinated your comrades?
They just let us know. I think, I don't know if it was Botero or if it was Tanya speaking English to us. Let us know. Oh yeah, it was her. They let us know that they were dead, but then she also told something. She goes, you guys are probably going to die. I'm looking at her like, what do you mean? She goes, well, we had some other folks that were killed during a rescue, and they're planning to rescue you, but you're probably going to die. You're probably not going home.
That's what she said?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What would you do? I mean, like, well, it's beyond insanity, Shawn. It's not like, it's you're sitting here, this shit is actually going down. This isn't a story or a movie. We're here in the middle of it, So that's when I say the cruelty of people can be, unimaginable. Yeah, you guys are going to die. I was like, wow. And then,
What did you think when she said that?
I remember Tom leaning over me and telling me in my ear, he said, Keith, just remember they're filming us right now. I think they're filming us. I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. I thought the odds are that we might die in a rescue if it wasn't done by the right people. But we were so overwhelmed with emotion at that moment. You're over a year in captivity, whatever, and here's information on your family, your buddies are dead. It just all hit us at one time, right? So I was just trying to process everything.
Where did you think your buddies were at before that, before you found out?
We didn't know. Well, maybe they're in another camp. Maybe they just separated us. We didn't know.
Why did they kill him?
Because they tried to escape. I knew and Tommy would have never survived captivity. Hell no. He'd have killed him. You couldn't put Tommy in a cage. Sorry. I actually, his wife just recently passed. And I was talking to one of his sons, and, I said, Tommy would have never made it. He could have never been caged, my belief.
Why do you say that?
Just his personality. There was never a second. I know, and he was my mentor. He's the one that got me hired. I knew as soon as he walked away from that plane, I know Tommy. He was just looking at the right moment to pop smoke. That was his personality. And he would have never, let me put it this way. Tommy could do anything he wanted to do, but he would have never let himself choose to be a captive.
What was sorry for all the questions coming up from previous, but my mind's just spinning. When you threw the M4 and the Berettas down the hill, and I know the Indige guy that was with you was pissed off. What did the rest of them think?
Nobody was really. It was just Cruz and I. Look, are you going to fight a fight you can't lose? Right?
Fight a fight you cannot lose?
No, fight a fight that you're. I'm sorry.
That you know you can't win.
That you can't win. Are you looking at surviving or just going out? And I wasn't looking at committing suicide.
I get it. I'm just curious.
I wanted to live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And so that was just, I looked, Cruz is like, we got to start shooting. I looked and I'm like, no, we don't. I mean, there were ants everywhere. I said, no bad decisions. And I remember we're at the bottom where they gave us lemonade. And they took my wallet. And the only thing I had in there I wanted to keep was a picture of my little 10-year-old son. And they wouldn't. It still makes me cry now. I said, can I have the picture? No. It's all right. And Tommy looks at me and he goes, what do you think, Keith? I said, we're fucked.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.